How about now? We should have audio now. So if you weren't hearing me, then I apologize about that. We should be having audio now. You guys let me know in the chat box if everything sounds good. Does the audio sound like it's high quality? And then here in a minute, we'll get into talking about the myths around the myth of your market being saturated and what to do about it. We're going to look at some really cool stuff and actually do some math together. Now, I'm going to be doing the hard work, so you won't have to be doing the math unless you want to, but I'm going to show you some cool math that will help you to get a really clear perspective on just how non-saturated your market really is. And what this is going to do for you is it's going to give you a lot of confidence that, hey, if I do the right things, then I can thrive in my wedding photography business. And you're going to see some like actual hard and fast methods to align yourself with the math. So we're going to look at the math, get the details, the facts. Then we're going to also look at what you should be doing, because here's the reality of it. Are there more wedding photographers today than there used to be? I'll let you take a second. Think about that. Are there? The answer is yes. There are more wedding photographers nowadays than there used to be, I would even say 8 years ago or 10 years ago, especially 15 years ago, right? However, here's something I want you to consider. Not everybody sees every single wedding photographer. Now, if you are primarily relying on something like The Knot, if you're primarily relying on something like, dare I even say, wedding planners, okay? If you're relying on Instagram, essentially all these options that are out there for people to look through, say The Knot or Wedding Wire or even Instagram or even planners. These options, as there's more and more wedding photographers, it does actually affect you. It does affect the probability that you're going to be chosen out of all the options that there are. I will tell you, I know some very actually high-end wedding planners that will use some wedding photographers. A lot of times they're younger, so they're, just either still in college or something like that, don't got a lot of bills. Their work is phenomenal, but they're charging lower prices. And is that every wedding planner? No. There are wedding planners that, if their budget for wedding photography, the client's budget's $30,000, they're going to really try to find a $30,000 wedding photographer. But I will tell you, there are even wedding planners that are being perceived as high end that are trying to get the best for the lowest cost so that they can come and spend that elsewhere within the budget. If they perceive that the customer doesn't really care either way, they just want a certain style, they want certain aspects of their wedding to be handled in a very specific way. So this is why I try to tell people that even if you're just trying to schmooze wedding planners, you put yourself at risk of the market being saturated, because there are more today than there used to be, more wedding photographers. However, let's look at the numbers real quick. I'm going to screen share. Let's see. I may have to adjust this real quick. I'm probably sharing the wrong browser. So let me get the correct browser. Let's see. I think that's right. Yeah. Okay, cool. So we're going to look at some numbers here together, and just to kind of show you the math. According to statistics, there's 2.4 million weddings in the United States every single year. We're not talking about Canada. We could. Obviously, the number is going to be a lot bigger if we look at, say, Canada and or even the world. But let's just, for the sake of brevity here, let's just say in the United States. Most of us in here are in the United States. So we're going to look at 2.4 million weddings. Okay. Now, if we were to say the average spend is $2,500, which if you look up the average cost of a wedding photographer, which by no means do I want you to have to be charging average prices, but I'm just saying average price, $2,500. That is that's $6 billion. So $6 billion worth of weddings. Now, given some are going to spend $0 on a wedding photographer, some are going to spend $50,000 or even $75,000+ on a wedding, but we're just saying an average of $2,500 per couple, per wedding here that's getting married each year. That's about $6 billion. Now, you know, this will say that there's about 54,000 wedding photographers, which, if that's true, now whether or not these are full-time or whatever you want to say, that means that literally every single wedding photographer could make $111,000. $111,111. That's really hard to say for some reason. Then you add the 11 cents onto it. So that means, again, if we take the average spin, as you would, say, okay, the Knot, Wedding Wire and all these places, hey, the average spend's $2,500. You take how many estimated wedding photographers there are. Okay, divide that out. That means every single wedding photographer should be able to make six figures. Okay, now I will tell you, as I look through the numbers in each market, because I sit down and do consults with people and kind of go like, okay, well, how much possible revenue could you generate in your market? Usually someone only needs, let me go back to the calculator for this real quick. Usually someone only needs about this much. So that's 1/3% of the total traffic that is Google searched in order to make around $100,000. So just if this is making sense to you, please do me a favor real quick, because I got to make sure the comment section is working. It's normal for it to not be working. So let me know. I'm going to check here on our live stream, because this is some good stuff, y'all. This will really, really put it in perspective. Comment and let me know. Say, makes sense, if indeed this makes sense for you. That of all the Google search in a particular city, as long as it's like a major city, I'm not talking about some out in the middle of nowhere city. I'm saying like a major city in a state. Okay. The same holds true pretty much for Canada. All right. As long as you can get 1/3% of the total amount of searches to like inquire with you. Now, if then we say you're only going to book on average, because this would be about the average, 30%, you actually only have to book. I'm trying to think what this, that's actually less than 0.1% of the total amount of Google searches. Are you following me how astronomical that is? Let me show you this, for example. In a lot of your major cities in the United States, there's about 25,000 searches, give or take, per year. Meaning there's 25,000 searches on Google. They're going in there typing, Phoenix wedding photographer or Tampa wedding photographer or, Denver wedding photographer or Colorado wedding photographer or Sacramento wedding photographer, whatever. They're typing in some city. In many, 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 if not most major cities, you've got maybe around 25,000 searches per year. Now, follow me here, because I'm not going to give you the most pie-in-the-sky examples. But what I'm trying to show you here is why the market saturation thing is a myth. I'm giving you numbers here. If this makes sense, go comment numbers right now. Go into the comment section, and it takes like 2 seconds, so hit the like button. Follow me here. 25,000 searches. If you can get 0.03, let's say you're ranking on Google, you get 0.03 or 3% of those to go to your website. That's 750 visitors. And then if you can get 10% of those to inquire, that's 75 inquiries. Then if you can get 30% of those to close, that's 22.5 weddings. If you're charging at least, let's say you're charging $4,500, which almost, in my strong opinion, I think just about anybody, if you've got sales skills, that's key here. If you've got sales skills, you should at least be able to get $4,500 per customer. Okay. I booked a $7,500 customer my first year in business with 3 weddings in our portfolio, and we are not award winners. Okay. So that's $101,000. Okay. So $100,000. Guess what? That aligns almost perfectly with our other number that we calculated, that if you guys have, I know we've had a lot of people kind of join in here after I've explained a lot of the stuff. So just real quickly here, we looked it up and did some numbers, and I'm going to run it one more time real briefly because we got so many new people here. I don't want to miss this. We looked at how many weddings on average there are in a single year in the United States. That's 2.4 million, right? So let's write it out. 24000. Yeah, there we go. The average spend, according to your big websites and all that good stuff, is $2,500. That's $6 billion. $6 billion worth of bookings, okay? So then we looked up how many wedding photographers there are, which this says there's 54,000 wedding photographers. So then we just say, okay, 54,000, let's divide the 6 billion divided by the 54,000. That's $111,111.11 per wedding photographer. So right now, if you've been persuaded by logic that you can make $100,000 in your business, go into the comments and comment 6 figures. If you're feeling squirrely, type 6 figgies for me, okay? I'll know who my squirrely people are. That's 6 figures. Now, I notice I did not ask you if you feel like you can make 6 figures, or if you think you should, or if you think you're going to. We're not even talking about that. I'm just asking you to be honest with me real quick, based on the numbers, if I've persuaded you with logic that you should be able to, based on the numbers, that you should be able to make at least $111,000 in your business, then comment 6 figures for me. And then hit that like button. Only takes you a second. Oh, Tess is squirrely. She's out here with her 6 figgies. Love it. Awesome. Anthony's typing 6 figures. So that's the reality. Logically, the market is not saturated. However, at the same time, I would say there's aspects of the market that are saturated. And here's what I mean by that. If you're primarily advertising at wedding shows, on Instagram, really anywhere on social media, if you're advertising through The Knot or Wedding Wire or anywhere that uses a grocery store model where they aggregate a bunch of wedding photographers, you're intentionally putting yourself in a position to be price shopped and compared, which is what you do with toilet paper at the grocery store. Okay? The weird thing is, guess what? As wedding photographers, we are luxury artists. You will not die if you don't get wedding photos. And here's why that's good. It's good because and this is one of the secrets, y'all say secrets. Secrets. Here's one of the secrets. By the way, I've spent probably hundreds, if not thousands of hours aggregating this data, this knowledge, researching brands, luxury brands like Rolex, Chanel, etc. So what I'm about to share with you guys is like blood, sweat, and tears. I've paid tens of thousands of dollars to learn some of this stuff. I'm now distilling it down to you all totally free inside this group. So if you would just hit that like button, it would be awesome. Helps us out here. So here's what I'm telling you. Chanel, just as an example, people don't buy Chanel because, well, Chanel compared to this bag, Chanel's, got more space in it, or, I kind of like Chanel, but the quality of the leather, I just would really prefer. People aren't really doing that. They resonate with Chanel because of the branding, the identity, the story. If you are a luxury artist, you should be focusing on creating connection through your words, your storytelling, the way that you allow people to feel connected, and not giving them all these photos in the context of, well, now compare me to other people. Now, this is one of the reasons why I actually really like Google. Okay, and I'm going to share with you, this is really my number one way to stop being price shopped, to stop being caught up in the myth of market saturation. And I'm going to use the movie 300. If you've seen the movie 300, go in the comments and type out 300 for me. Because if y'all don't know this movie, then it's not going to make much sense. Maybe you know the story of the Spartans, but if you've seen that movie, comment 300. And I'm going to share this example with you. In the movie and in the story of the Spartans, they have I want to say a 300 person army, which is why they came up with the number 300. I don't know how much of this is myth and how much of it is real. So if we have any history buffs here, you please feel free to enlighten us. Anthony's heard of 300, love it. So we've got at least one person. Hopefully there's more than that, but we've at least got one person. So in the movie, there's like 300 guys and they got to fight this huge, massive army of Persians. And so they're like, we should go back in this crevice that has a little bitty opening because only so many Persians can fit through that opening at any one time. So instead of fighting the entire army, we'll only have to fight how many can fit through that little hole at a time, which is only going to be, and I don't remember the actual numbers, but it's only going to be like 50 at a time. So our ability to inflict more damage on the opposing army is much higher because we've strategically positioned ourselves. Now, you might be going, what in the world does this have to do with Google? Why is Jeff talking about 300 when we should be talking about wedding photography? And what's wrong with Jeff? He's got something wrong with him. You're probably right. However, I do have logic here once again. Okay. And that logic is this. On Google, there's only ever like 10 results and only like 4 or 5 of them are really wedding photographers. You've got the knot, you've got Wedding Wire, but I'll tell you, if someone's wanting a wedding photographer and they're trying to find a wedding photographer page, they're not clicking on the knot. Now, a large percentage might. Now, I'll say this caveat. Really ideal is you just rank above the knot. Tracy, if y'all remember Tracy, who was here for Tracy? We looked at Tracy Birch, who's now ranking, literally, last time I checked here, which was like earlier today, literally number 1 for Aspen wedding photographer. She lives in Kentucky. She literally ranks number 1 for Aspen wedding photographer. You can Google search it, check me, see if I'm right. I'm just telling you what I've seen, and I'm pretty excited about it. If she's number 2, well, ho-hum, that's what she was before. But last time I checked, she was literally above the knot in the number 1 position. So it is possible to rank even above the knot. But I'm saying even if you don't, your ability to rank in the maps and then also in the organic results underneath the maps, if someone's looking for a wedding photographer, they're probably going to skip the knot unless they really want to browse around. But a lot of people are not there to go to the knot because they understand the knot's then just giving them a bunch of aggregated results. Versus if they're the first photographer or second or third or fourth photographer on the first page of Google, they have earned that. They've earned that. They're being recommended by Google. Okay, so you can't fit, like, even if, let's say you're in a big city and there's tons of photographers in that city. There's 50 million photographers in that city. Then you take a city where there's only 50 photographers. Guess how many photographers are still on the first page of Google? The exact same number. It is literally the same example with the movie 300, where we're positioning ourselves in an environment where saturation cannot occur. This is why I like Google. I really like Google. And I'll tell you this, if your city, and I've looked at a lot of websites, I've helped a lot of people, here's what I found. If you've got let's say enough keywords to equal around maybe 15 to 2,000 searches per month total in your market, you can probably get at least an inquiry a day. So think about that. Now I'm saying some days you might get 4 inquiries, some days you might get 0, but average out like 300, 400 inquiries a year. If you've got, maybe a keyword that's got like 700 searches, you got another one that's 700 searches, you got aggregated maybe somewhere 15, 2,000-ish, you might be able to get up to an inquiry a day or so. Now, there's some cities that have more than that. My city has, like, our biggest keyword, I think, is around 270. We probably have somewhere like around 1,000 is my guess. And we can get anywhere from like 80 to 160-ish inquiries just from Google. Okay, so we live in a smaller major city. Okay, Louisville, Kentucky. So again, I'm trying to help you think about this in terms of your business now and like, okay, how can I sort of future-proof my business so I don't buy into the myth of the market saturation? Because we've already shown you should at least be able to make $111,000 in your business based on the numbers. Okay, but let me just run another mathematical problem here. So that, or formula, I guess it's not really a problem, it's just a formula. Bring up the old trusty calculator. If you can get 1,000 visitors to your homepage through them finding you on a Google search, if then you can get 10% of those to inquire, that's 100 inquiries. If then you can book 30%, and these aren't crazy numbers, okay? 30% close. I bet some of you all let me know what your close rate is. So, for example, if you get 10 inquiries, about how many of those book, you let me know in the comments right now, because I will tell you our average that we usually hear is around 30. Some people say 80, some people say 10, numbers all over the place, but average is about 30%. So we're saying, and let me know that in the comments. And then we've only gotten 5 likes on this so far, guys. So I'm not going to complain. I'm going to be happy with however many likes we get. But if you haven't hit that like button yet, hit that like button. It takes you like 2 seconds. It's good for you. There are studies that confirm hitting the like button is an act of goodwill, and it increases your lifespan up to 30%. Did you know that? I'm just repeating the facts that are totally made up. That's not true. Please don't say Jeff lies about dumb stuff. But in this case, it's true. It's not a lie, though. It's a joke. Okay. So, but back to the truth. I may not tell the truth about the like button, but I do tell the truth about the numbers here. You get 100 inquiries and you close 30% of them. That's 30 weddings, which you may want to shoot 15. Look, you apply this to your situation. 30 weddings. If you charge, I said everybody here should be able to charge $4,500. If you have good sales skills, you got decent photos, you should be able to charge $4,500 on average. That's $135,000, y'all. Now you say, whoa, Jeff, that's crazy. Well, if you could only do half that, you're doing almost $70,000. And we're just talking about from Google. Now, please don't say that that's what Jeff said I could do 100,000 in my market. If you live out in the middle of nowhere, you're probably not going to do that, at least not from Google. But if you live near or can travel to a major city and you can market towards that, then you can probably make $100,000 or something like that. But again, this is not a promise. This is for entertainment purposes only. Okay, so don't y'all come around saying, well, Jeff said I could, and then, I didn't. You got to use the right methods. And even still, time and chance has its place in everything. But it's those that make the best efforts towards finding the info they need, finding the methods they need, figuring out how to implement the methods. And think about it this way. If there's $100,000 floating around out there for your city, people Google searching, that means every month that you're not ranking on Google, you've got like $8,300 that's going to other people on the first page of Google. It's kind of a way to think about it. So if you're, it's like the old tree adage, if you're sort of lagging and not doing what you should be doing and planting the tree, the old saying is the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time to plant a tree is today. This is why with SEO, in positioning yourself as a luxury artist is what you need to do. You should. I was just talking about this for my insider group last night. Anybody in here in my insider program? If you're in my insider program, say insider. Let me know if we got any insiders with us today. But I was just talking about how, a lot of educators, wedding photography educators will say things like, oh, you need to focus on value, features and value and problem solving. I'm like, that works great for commodity, but like as a groom or a bride, I don't want to come into a website and you tell me all the things that are wrong. Like, that could go wrong with my wedding. Like, oh, they say they're going to take care of me because, there's a high likelihood that I'll look bad in my photos, or that things could go wrong, or there's a high likelihood that I'm just not going to like the way I look in my photos. Now I have a really negative association with this person that's telling me all the bad things that I don't want to hear because I'm optimistic about my wedding day. So we have all these educators saying, oh yeah, you focus on values and, unique value proposition and their problems and solving those problems. I'm like, don't do that. Chanel or Rolex, you don't see these luxury brands doing that kind of stuff where they go, oh yeah, our handbags are, just, they hold stuff the best. They're so much better than duffel bags. They're so much better than, I'm reading a book. I think it's called Think Bigger or something like that. And they talk about anytime something like rises to the top in an industry, it is not necessarily because it is better. It's largely because it's different. So like, for example, Elvis, any Elvis fans in here? Any Elvis fans? I'm not the biggest Elvis fan. I haven't even seen the movie yet, but I've heard it's good. Elvis, and the music that he sort of pioneered, the style that he pioneered is not better than classic music. Agreed? Do you agree with me? It's not better than jazz. It's not better than rock and roll. It's not better than dubstep or enter in any other genre. It's just different. So you could say it is better, but that is pretty much just your opinion, right? It's not really better. There's no way to measure that as being better necessarily. Now you could say it was worse morally than the previous music or better morally than the music. You could say those sorts of things maybe and have an argument. I don't know. But in terms of it being objectively better as a musical style, we can't say that. But it was different. So in the same way, luxury brands, they're not going, yeah, well, look how much better we are. So you really have to like come to this crux where you say, am I going to market as a commodity or a luxury brand? If you say I'm going to primarily focus on wedding shows, Instagram, even planners. Okay, look, I like working with planners, but I like coming from a position of power where I am giving them referrals. There's ways to do that by ranking on Google. Okay, so just put that out there. I like planners, but I like working with planners from a position of I have enough versus, ooh, please feed me. Please feed me, planners. I don't want to do that because I don't want to come from that place of need. You'll sabotage yourself, if anything. And I like freedom. I like being free. Okay. And if you've been putting most of your investment in these methods, I get it. Look, I tried Instagram for a while. We got up to like 7,000 followers. Pretty much all the DMs were always price shoppers. Now, if they found us on Instagram, came through our website, then it might be all right. We'd get some inquiries that were good that way. But by and large, not only did it not bring us nearly as many inquiries as Google, but they were way more price shopping. And I'm telling you this because I care about you guys. I want you to thrive. I want you to feel like, we can go from here as wedding photographers up to here as wedding photographers. And look, some of us here are already making six figures, right? Some of us, maybe you're just starting out. Some of us are at 30,000 a year or 80,000 a year, and you're all trying to get somewhere, or hopefully you are. Hopefully you have a worthy vision and there's a reason why you're doing this and seeking to grow. I don't know why you'd be in this group if you're not looking to grow. Right? So if you have questions about what we've talked about today, please go ahead and ask those now. But I'll tell you this, and I have a couple other things I'm going to share. But I just want you to know, if you would like to go deeper and you have more questions, you have more thoughts, maybe you are just looking for a quick solution to get ranking on Google and to transform your marketing. Like one of our members that just recently posted, it was actually in a different group, they posted that they just closed out their year for just their wedding photography business, just shy of $180,000. Prior to me working with them, they were at $30,000 a year. Okay. So if you're like, oh, I just want to grow, I don't want to waste time, the best thing for you to do is to comment, reach out. If you comment, reach out, then either myself, my wife, or we have a easy SEO specialist. His name's Tate. One of us will follow up with you and get to know a little bit more about your business, and then see if we can come up with a game plan for you so that you have more clarity. So if you would like that, just comment, reach out. We'll follow up with you, maybe here in the next hour. It just depends, but we'll get to you. Okay, I can let you know. We will get to you. The other thing that we're doing, and I actually have a link for this, so let me grab it for you guys. We've had a lot of interest in my Dream Clients program. Okay, we're also getting ready to allow some more people to join. We do a limited amount of seats for people to join. And so if you're interested in applying for that, we have what's called a preeminence list, which means that you get like first dibs and first consideration if you're on this list. Okay. By the way, Alita, I saw that you commented, reach out. Again, we'll follow up with you. Love that. Can't wait to chat with you some more. Wonderful. Let me get this list for the preeminence list. I'm just going to get the link, put it in here. If you fill this out, you are not committing to anything. Okay, I just want you to know that. However, this means that you're raising your hand and saying, hey, Jeff, I really want to work inside, possibly, at least be considered on a preeminent level for your Dream Clients program. This is my coaching program, mentoring program, where we help you to rank on Google in 90 days or less. Okay, so when you see people, like I was sharing, the person that posted said, hey, we closed out this year at just shy of $180,000. That person did Dream Clients. Okay, that's the types of transformations that we can create. And so as soon as this thing loads, I'm going to share the link. Enrique also saw the reach out there. Love it. If anybody else wants to comment and reach out, you got a few more seconds before we do that, or before we close it down. I think I have the link now, so I'm going to go ahead and post that here for you guys. And that way you can fill that out. This is in its beta form. We just created this because we're like, man, we need to have a list for people because we just need to be able to keep up with people. So if you see an issue on this form, let me know because it's brand new. It's a brand new form. So if there are issues, let me know. I'll review it and we'll check it out. But I think everything's correct on it as far as I can tell. But if you want to help me out, fill it out and we'll go from there. Tess, I see that you commented reach out as well. Love it. Love it. Love it. She said also, thank you for doing this live today. Hey, thank you for being here and investing in yourself. That's what excites me. One of the ways I got, because I'm a wedding photographer, but I got into this largely because I had so much fun helping people. One of the first people I helped, about 2 months into coaching him, he books his first $7,500 Dream Client. His highest spend before that, I think, was like $35,000 or maybe $4,000. And so that was pretty cool, and it made me feel awesome. So I get really excited about helping you guys. It's what I love. It fuels my soul. So anyhow, we've got the list in there. So if you are even remotely thinking about filling out that preeminence list for Dream Clients, go ahead and click on it and get it open, because when we shut this live down, it's going to disappear forever. Maybe not forever, but it's going to disappear. So again, thank you guys so much for being here. We are doing these live streams every single week. Here with the holidays and everything, it's been kind of tough, but normally we're going to be doing these on Thursday. Okay, so you can mark it on your calendar, Thursdays, and we have been experimenting with 5:15 p.m. and 6:15 p.m. Likely we're going to settle on right around the 5:30 mark, but you all give me some feedback on that, because we're just trying to figure out when the most amount of people can make it, right? We've got people watching from different parts of the country as well as different parts of the world. So feedback is always appreciated. You have a voice inside this group. You are part of what makes this group awesome. So if you have thoughts on when would be best, always let us know. But Thursday so far has been, it seems like, one of the best days. Kaylee, also see the reach out there. So absolutely, we'll be following up with you here soon. Okay, appreciate you guys. I just can't tell you how thrilled I am that you're here. Hopefully you got something out of it. If you did, please go ahead and comment value. Let me know that you benefited from this. And then, listen, this is your last chance to hit that like button. Doggone it. We've still only got 11 like button hits, which I'm going to be content. I'm going to be so satisfied and content. But, you know, for me, every time I do these live streams, I'm like, okay, the more likes I get probably means the better I did. So I'm just imagining, right? So I know we had at least like 25 people here. So I don't know. Y'all starting to make me wonder So I mess with you guys. Hopefully you know that. But thank you. Thank you for being here. We're going to shut it down, and I'll see you next week. And I'll see you on the inside of the group. Hopefully posting, asking questions, all that good stuff. Until then, it's been Easy SEO Live.